Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to the second episode of Flow Point, Flow Artist's Point of View. And I'm so happy to have you here. Um, Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel so I can continue my efforts into bringing the flow arts community in India together on this platform so we can share our knowledge and listen to each other. In today's episode, we're going to talk with a fabulous performer. His name is Javed, and he is going to be sharing with us his story of how he got into flow and what are the ways you can practice flow. I really deeply feel grateful for having you as my audience and looking forward to bring more inspiration on this channel as I must tell you, after this interview, I myself was so inspired um, listening to Javed, and like a lot of times I must have mentioned that the reason for me to start this channel and to start this interview is so that we can bring knowledge about flow arts to people, to general public, and make it easy for them to discover more about flow arts. And yeah, I hope we're gonna have a lot of flow artists by the end of this year. Let's start by telling the audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm Javed, and I've been spinning, I've been doing flow arts for maybe like 5 or 6 years, but I've been actively practicing for the last 4 years. And yeah, I started spinning double stuffs. Now I spin koi, rope dart, like fan swoops, a bit of everything. And I also work as an IT consultant. So yeah, it's more of like a part-time thing for me. I'm not into it full time. And but yeah, that's when I'm from Kerala. I'm 27 years old.
Tell us about what do you do now in terms of flow arts.
Okay, these days, primarily, like I spin poi these days, poi, and I practice a lot of rope dart. That's why also as far as my goes. And it's one of these kind of subculture events that's been popping up recently. Everybody's into alternative things, and like everybody's going away from what is mainstream or what is they're trying to look to find new ways to heal themselves, to kind of find new avenues where you can explore yourself and get better. And I think that's one of the core main motivation behind this event and behind a lot of events and festivals that I go to is to just try and find an alternative approach.
So, why flow arts for you?
Well, flow arts is the jackpot. I've always liked dancing. I've always liked dancing, and due to some certain like situations and peer pressure, I had to quit the dance team when I was in college. But I never really like danced for real like 2 years after that, and then I started going to raves and dancing by myself. And although like flow arts for me was a way to express myself without actually being vulnerable, in that sense, because you don't really have to move a lot. You just have to move your hands. And that kind of really like got me in the zone, and it kind of attracted me, that way of easily express yourself and easily get in the zone without putting too much effort. Because at the end of the day, like you are just, spinning a string or just moving a stick. It is simple, if you just give that focus. And I think that simplicity is one of the most important factors that drove me to flow arts. Because it's simple, it's easy, and it's fun. Yeah.
Nice. Although a lot of people who start flow arts
Mm,
or who realize that flow arts may look really easy, but once you start
mm,
attempting it, it may not be as easy as it looks or
mm,
effortless.
mm.
So,
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I'm just saying, like, instead of any hobby that you look, if it's like painting, or if it's climbing, or if it's going to the gym, or it's you require a lot of equipment, a lot of things. Floors, you just need your props with you. You just need a socks and two balls. You just need a stick. You just need some like long rope and you have your prop with you and you can practice. So in that, like, of course, like based on the skill level, it takes years like to do what you want to do. But to actually have fun, it's kind of easy. If you can just let loose and let yourself not judge yourself and not to be harsh on yourself, it's pretty easy to have fun. Like that was what I was fun.
True, that the point that you make over there, it's so valid that if somebody wants to start flow arts, to get access to props is so fairly easy because you
Mm,
can
yeah,
literally DIY any prop from
yeah,
your.
yeah, exactly.
And what do you think were other advantages that you felt in your life thanks to flow
Uh,
arts?
so like the element of play, like as I got older, and I started working, and like there's not much fun in life, in terms of you have to make your own fun. It doesn't happen on its own. Flowers for me was always fun. It was always I like getting new toys to play with, and just uh, for me that was the important part too. It brought play back into my life, or like you just played with swords with sticks, and try to make moves with them. Yeah, that was the important part about.
Yeah, and play is crucial, play is
Yeah.
important for your brain to play it
Mm.
out, let's say.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Like, 'cause if you remember, when you're kids, like most of your cognitive function, it works. It develops when you're playing with toys, right? When you play with toys and you try to figure out how to grab them, how to hold them. That's how your cognitive functions develop. And like as you grow older, like you need more specialized toys to improve those cognitive functions, I believe. And that's where like clothes really, like it really fine tunes that motor control you have and improves that. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you really need that for your day-to-day life, but it's really nice to have some, Jedi skills when you have when you practice clothes or all time.
Yeah, totally. I think play is definitely a blessing for the brain. Does kind of open up some doors for you. Um,
So true, so true. It really opens up new doors of awareness and perception. Definitely. For me, like, I don't know, like, because I feel like people who are into flow arts, like, they connect very easily because there's not many people. But if you like a poi spinner meets another poi spinner, they'll be like, yo, you spin poi, I spin poi. People who are that, like, who are like a little quirky and a little weird, I find that, I found, I find people like I think myself as a little quirky and weird, and I find like a lot of my flomies are also similar, and I feel like it's easy to connect with them, and that's been a really important part this of my practice. To actually, when you're actually, when you're an adult and you're in your life, you interact with the people from your office, you interact maybe with your family, and maybe like the friends you made from college. Like the amount of space that you have to make new friends is considerably low and than when you're children, when you're a kid, like you make friends like that. It's so easy, you go to new school, you make friends, but when you're an adult, it's not that easy. But like when due to flow arts, like I've been able to make a lot of new friends, and I still am able to because of community gatherings and whatever, just because they're into an art form, and just because of that sharing of knowledge is so easy, and so like back and forth, it's very easy to make friends, and that's a very important part of my practice as well, of why I do this.
it's
Mm.
beautiful. Are there any flow artists which are your inspiration? Would you like to tell us some of your
Mm,
inspirations in terms
uh, inspirations, I think definitely, when I was starting out, I saw Arjun, right? Arjun did this infinite folding lines. Like, so he was doing infinite folding lines on like both arms. I was just starting out with Poi, it was back in 2020, like Feb or March. I don't remember when he put out those video. It was on a park and he was doing like infinite folding lines on both arms, and I was like, whoa, that is so cool. Yeah. Like, yeah, that was insane. Like, how can like I was barely able to spin it, and like to able to like roll it, like that really blew my mind, and it was like, okay, that really got me into contact point. Because I really didn't know much about contact point, and that really got me into like practicing contact point. And also there was like a lot of videos I saw of Tim Goddard. Yeah, like Tim Aspect, that was his Instagram handle. Yeah, the guy is insane, you know. So like it really kind of opened up my mind to like using poi from an object manipulation standpoint rather than a spinning standpoint. And then I think revolves in my style because I do, yeah, I don't know, but like still, I do like to like throw a lot and like manipulate rather than like spin because I use more like stalls and throws rather than like spinning in my style. And I think like these people like seeing these tricks or seeing these people have like influenced me. And also like there is this amazing rope dart. Oh, I forgot his name. Oh, shit, this is amazing. Frank artist, rope artist. Like, yeah, I mean, it's always a great inspiration for me for rope dart. And like seeing him spin rope dart has really inspired me to, hey, wow, that is so cool. I need to do that. And I've really been getting into practicing a lot because of Frank. I don't know if like like yeah, I don't know if, of course, like you wouldn't know whether like you are whether you're an inspiration or not, but like for sure these are some of the pro artists that I find quite inspiring.
Would like to ask you a little bit about how was your journey like? Uh, what were the what were the ways that you learned poi?
So primarily like I learn a lot from YouTube. Like I look at YouTube tutorial or I look at like an Instagram video, I save it, then I look at the video and then I try to practice. Like I watch it and try to practice, and most of the time it takes a long time. Like when you have somebody there who actually can say, "Hey, that's what you're doing wrong," and like you can easily get like feedback in live time. That's much more faster. But for me, like it's difficult to like actually listen to a person for a long time. And if I try start taking classes, like the teachers might feel that I'm being offensive. So that's why I've never really taken any classes for any of my like flow prop training. Apart from one class I did for the no beat weave with Bo Juggler, which is like a $5 class, a $1 class which he used to do like a couple of years ago. And that's the only class that I've gone to. Everything else that I've learned, I've always got it from like free YouTube tutorials because there's so much of them, and then like so much of like on Instagram, like seeing other people spin. And my learning process is basically saving videos and trying to like mimic them, and also turning on the music and trying to flow. I really don't drill new tricks. Like recently, I've been drilling a little bit more, trying to learn something new. But over the like after the first 1.5 year of spinning, I don't think I've really learned anything new. I've just been flowing or playing around with I already know, trying to find combinations with it's like trying to match my movements to the music. And that's where my practice fundamentally revolves around flow rather than drilling technique. So for sure, I think drilling new technique is very like important a lot because like you have to have a lot of, how do I say, tools in your repertoire to actually use them, and then you have to learn how to use those tools and like or like ingredients, like each trick you learn is like an ingredient that you use, and your performance is like the dish that you serve. You have to have a lot of ingredients, and then you can kind of like mix and match them to make them work. And yeah, like recently that's why I've been trying to like force myself to drill something new over the last couple of months. Yeah, it's hard, and like as like the longer you grow, like it's in the initial search you have there's so much to learn. You can easily pick something up new. Now it's like really harder to, I think, to learn new things. And but yeah, it's like just a journey, like of going and going.
So
Yeah,
how do you think can we make it easy if we want to put it in simple words?
like
Let's
to do like the learning process, you mean? For me, like the learning process, like of anything, whether it's any prop or like any move, is to primarily like just look at the move and break it down. Like there's always going to be like a step one and a step two. It's gonna like there's gonna be a movement with your right arm, like for poi. For example, if I'm trying to learn a poi move or a poi combination, I look at what is he doing with his right arm. Then I look at what is he doing with his left arm, and then I practice my right arm, and then I practice my left arm separately, and then I try to do both arms together. and then I try to do it in a like different timing and direction combination. Like, and I do it in other direction before. Yeah. If I get it in the both directions, then I try maybe a different timing or see if it's possible with another timing. So like these are, and yeah, but before, like this is easily the primary learning process for me is to just break it down, and it's always break it down because like for me flow arts, the fundamental thing about learning flow arts is it's always most of the time, like maybe 70 to 80% of the tricks you can easily break it down to like step one, step two, step three, step four, step five, like and you can do that on for both arms and then just practice them separately, then bring them together. Yeah. But yeah, for me, like I never really time myself the amount of time that I practice, but I really do try to at least flow almost every other day, even if I don't really drill anything. I just put on some music and just try to flow for a little while, and that counts as practice, or maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, I try to do that at least all every day. But it's hard. I've never. Yeah, I'm consistent over a long period of time, but never over short periods of time. For me, it's always been about like if I feel it, I'll do it. I've never really pushed myself to actually, hey, I have to do it every day. I have to do it because of maybe the comfort of having a backup with an alternative source of like because maybe I'm not into it full time. I've never really gotten the courage to actually go for it full time. One of the reasons I believe that I've been able to like take it easy and not push myself and just be a little lazy.
Do you wish to go full time in flow arts?
Yeah, that's a question. Because like based on what I've seen, based on what like I know that there is like currently like there's money in the like there's a lot of like there is a sufficient amount of the market that can help me make a decent amount of money for sure. I don't know because if I do it full time, it's gonna be work, and that's gonna maybe kill the joy that I get from doing clothes. So yeah, it's a big conundrum, and I don't really know the answer for that.
What do you think would be the most epic thing that could happen to you if you went for full time into flow arts?
What could be the most epic thing? What's the most epic thing that could happen to me? I don't know. I don't know what's the most epic thing that could happen to me. You
Like
know?
what do you imagine? Like, oh my God, I would totally be a full time flow artist if I could do this when I become a
Yeah.
full.
Okay. If I have my own show, if I had my own show and where I have something that I showcase to an audience and I have people buying tickets for my show, to just to see the show. Yeah. That could be like the most epic thing ever. But for that, I have to make my own show. That's a lot of work. But yeah, definitely, like you've given me a lot of like I've never really been asked that. What's the most epic thing? That's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. I don't know. I like to try and make a difference with my art. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's like asking too much, or saying about something that needs to be said. Maybe some message that I really need to show. And it's a whole other thing talking about it. It's a different thing doing it. And yes, to actually create something that brings about societal change or brings about a change in perspective. There's like a couple of things that I did, like with this poem, Pink or Blue, which talks about gender equality and stuff like that kind of helps me. And like, I wouldn't know what I would call it unless I start creating it. And for me, I like it's called like I choose my name Shango. For the reason was because like Shango is like basically how do I say is Thor, like is a black Thor, like he's a god of lightning or the god of lightning in a different very the Yoruba culture. So like this is kind of a culture which is how do I say underrepresented, and people only know about Thor as the god of lightning. They don't really know about Shango because it's not coming to the mainstream. I would like to talk about how do I say yeah, feminism. Maybe I would like to talk about mm, how do I say toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's all I want. Gender equality. What else would I will talk about? Religious bias. I don't know, to be honest, what I would really talk about. But
Like,
at least like for me, I believe that art, the primary purpose of art is not just entertainment. of course it should be entertaining, but it should be like entertainment that forces you to think, like. And yeah, saying one thing, like I don't know if my art, like whatever I'm actually doing, represents that, but that at least that's in my mind that I would like to go to actually try to how do I say, be political or force people to think with art, and force people to like how do I say, hey, like, yeah, that was really entertaining, but wow, I should maybe think differently, or maybe like make people question things, question norms, question culture. Yeah. Question you asked me, what would we discuss, like, for us being a part of flow artists, or being a part of the, like, the Indian flower community, or like, whatever. What would I like to say? As like, I would like to see, like, most of the work that I see people doing, it's purely for entertainment, and I would like to think that if we could go deeper, if we could make people question things, if we could, like, I don't know, like, just bring about a message with our performances, with our actions, because being an artist, like, you are a symbol. People look up to you, people see you, like, you're out there on a stage, people see your costume, people see your style. So there's a lot of scope to try to actually bring a message. And I know it's much harder said than done. So much harder done than said. Yeah, like, that's another question itself, because like the two questions that I get asked the most, like, how do I start and how long do I practice? And like, where do I get them? Like, where do I get these props? That's also an important, like, question that I get asked a lot. I just forgot them. And like, do I make my props at home? I, every prop that I started, I made one at home to see if I liked it, like a very DIY one. I practice for a little while, and then I get a new one, like from somebody who really makes it well. This world, like the 21st century that we live in right now, has given us the most tools in the recorded human history ever to actually, like, live as artists or live as performers. For me personally, it's a personal choice. I find my best practice to be alone, without like any disturbance, without any person, or like with myself in a closed space with just the music. That's where I practice the best. That's where I
Yes,
practice the best. But
absolutely.
of course, like, for the fun part of it, to make life entertaining a little bit, I would definitely enjoy having a community and people surrounding me that do it. And yeah, maybe like for me, for sure, like the people around me, it's kind of my responsibility maybe to actually introduce new people to it, and try to build a community.
On the point of practicing, I
Mm,
also feel that you need to be alone. When it comes
mm,
to practice and when it comes to working on yourself, you need that time. It's really important to just be by yourself and repeat, repeat over and over and try to get deeper in understanding a trick, right? I agree with you on that. And what we were talking about is the role of community, right?
mm, mm.
Uh, at the moment, it would be hard to say, but what do you think um, the role of community is right now for you?
To support each other, in terms of, hey, like, that's a cool trick, that looks cool, can you do it again, like that. For me, like, that's the important role. Hey, maybe you can, like, constructive criticism as well. Hey, like, maybe if you do that, that would be a little bit better, and to get that another perspective, it's really important, I believe. And that, I think, is the biggest role to actually, because you have a lot of self-doubt when you go into the picture. For me especially, I had a lot of self-doubt. Like, my family didn't really know, they still don't know how what I do in terms of like my performances. And so there's not a really support in terms, because people don't really know what it is or what I'm doing in terms of what it is, this art form. And so for me, the community is the people who actually know what it is and who actually practice themselves. So like, if I think that there's a very fundamental and crucial role the community plays, because it's a very new scene in terms of the amount of time that people have been doing it. So, and I think the community plays a crucial role, because a supportive community that nurtures its members would definitely lead to more people growing and being more self-confident in themselves and doing a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key role the community plays to support. And it's always more fun when you have more like people who are into it. It's always more fun to play as a group than to play alone, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Agreed. So much to learn also from different people, right?
Yes. Yeah. Even if you when you go beyond the basics, everybody chooses to go with their own set of tricks that like some tricks are always going to be easy for you. Some tricks are always going to be hard for you. And that depends upon the individual. And then that leads to everybody having their own style. And that is really amazing. Like, you can get a lot from like just seeing other people spin. Like, yeah, that is so important. Yeah.
What do you think so far? Oh,
Yeah, this is pretty interesting talk. It was really nice. I believe, yeah, I've never been really been thought about, like, I've really had never gotten time to actually think about the intricacies or nuances of the whole scene and whatnot. And yeah, to be honest, I really didn't, like, it was all off the top of my head. So it's all like honest responses that I've not really been thinking about and it just came off the top of my head. Yeah, so it's been quite nice. I do believe that it's been quite an entertaining conversation. I really lost track of time. I don't know how much time I would be spending, and it's been quite interesting. And like it's a really amazing initiative that you're doing here to actually try to pick people's minds and try to understand what's happening, what's the scene. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah, you really deserve hats off for doing that. Yeah,
thank you, Javed. You're sweet. Yeah, I think that there is a lot of magic in flow arts. And you
mhm,
said it really beautifully earlier that when other people see that there is so much compassion and support for each other in this community,
mhm,
they are more inclined to also be a part of
mhm,
that. And that's how we
yeah,
can grow the place and the community and
yeah,
the
yeah,
knowledge
exactly. Yeah,
of flow. So that's really nice. And that
yeah,
could be also one of the goals of having these conversations, just because we know how amazing it is to
yeah,
talk to someone with the same interest and someone who is in the same area. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we create a different path in terms of like a new thinking. So I often find myself sitting with my friends in the house and we talk about, oh yeah, man, this stuff is so cool about flow and this stuff is
mm-hmm.
nice, that event and these people like, and I would like to bring these conversations to the people who
Yeah,
are not who are not in my house basically and who cannot
mm-hmm.
chats.
Yeah,
And there is much to know and there's much to learn about flow arts, and there's more and more people I'm sure looking out for content on flow arts. Like, uh,
mm-hmm.
where do I find these people? Where do I find the courses? Where
Yeah,
I get started? And what is this all about? Like, the the here and there. So I think
yeah,
through these conversations we are having a really like in depth understanding of what we're experiencing flow arts
yeah,
as, what it is like for them. And certainly documenting all these conversations is the best part because
yeah,
we're kind of sending this information into the future, and
yeah,
a lot of people who will be in different timelines will be able to
yeah.
something out of this information. So
Yeah, that is very true. That's so true because it's so new, like the entire flow art scene, it's so new, and it brings about really opens up perspective because like depending upon where you're born, you're likely to have a certain life. Like if because I'm born here in this culture in this timeline, I would be likely to go to school. I would be likely to be an engineer or be a doctor, or then I would get married, then I'd go to like Dubai and then work there. That is a like majority of the people around me my age. That's the life that they're leading, and like everyone has that because of the place that in the time that they were born. And flow arts for me definitely expands that, like it really showed me another side. And, like there are people who spend their entire life trying to figure out different ways that they can move a stick in space. That's interesting, like that's also another way of how you spend your life. There is no right way or wrong way, there is just way. And like Fawaz for me definitely opens up a lot of perspectives, especially to a community like maybe the millennial Indian community who's been quite closed off, or like maybe not closed off, maybe like confined by the bounds of culture or whatnot. Flow arts definitely brings about new perspectives, new culture, new ways of engagement between people, new ways of interaction. And it's very important that we are choosing to actually analyze those new interactions and behaviors between people. Like jams, flow jams are a thing right now. Like imagine, like the word itself is new, like, yeah, I remember like I had a friend like we were doing a jam here, and she was like, "Jam, they're talking about the food or what?" Like people didn't know, So like it's so new, and the terminology is it's in itself quite a movement. And it's quite nice that we're actually taking a step back and evaluating the patterns in which this is happening right now. Like, thank you so much for like choosing me to be on your podcast. It's a great initiative. I really enjoyed like the questionnaires, and really enjoying being a part of it. And that's it. Like for me, like if there's anyone who's really trying to get into flow arts, just like one thing, like don't care, don't really give much thought into what people think or people's opinions. Just keep practicing and keep practicing. As we keep practicing, that's the one message if I ever had one. Just keep practicing.
So it was so amazing talking to you.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much, Javed.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
I hope we're gonna have more opportunities like this to talk and
Yes, sir.
bring forth some really beautiful points. I feel like some of the emotions I had about flow arts also were revived today through this conversation, and some new inspirations came to me as well. Thank you so much for giving your time and sharing your ideas on Flow Point. And yes, wishing
Yes,
for more awesome things to happen for us, for everyone
yes,
in Flow
yes.
Art.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been like super nice experience. Yeah. As always, interacting with you, Satsuki-chan.
ありがとうございます。
Arigatou gozaimasu.